And welcome back to another episode of Around Comics. I'm Brian Salazar. With me, as always, is Roy Mason. Wait, who the hell is Roy Mason?
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Christopher Niesman.
Yeah,
my partner in crime. He used
Here
to
I
say it, but now I say it about you.
He took over the intro.
I did.
Slimy bastard.
I got a better voice anyway.
Is that where we are? Mm-hmm. Are you the phone message voice for your company?
No. You are? Wow.
I am now.
You do everything.
Man of it's no, they know that I have a microphone, and they're like, so can you record the phone system?
It's pretty much all you need.
Yep.
Yep.
That's it. That's it. Archery, very low. Hi, how you doing, sir?
Look who's here.
Oh,
I'm good. I'm very good.
It's Tom.
I'm cold.
Hey, what's up?
What's up,
Yes.
High Republic? Are you high, man? You high?
Hey, man, it's legal in Illinois.
Right, it is.
Oh, gosh.
I like that these things are now. I feel like I'm in a Watchmen comic book because like a just like a goofy cigarette thing that lights up on the end.
Yeah. The future's here, my friend.
Future is here. I still
I'll just watch you guys from Wisconsin with jealousy in my eyes. So, and as Sal mentioned, it's like -3 degrees right now.
It is cold out.
We
keep getting like an inch of snow every day.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Welcome to the Upper Midwest.
Pretty annoying.
Before we get too far, I do want to say, while this is obviously our free Tuesday night / Wednesday morning Around Comics episode, we do have a ton of bonus content on our Patreon page, patreon.com/Around Comics. Please go there, check it out. We got a new Tom versus the Freedom Fighters just came out. We have
biggest news of 2021.
The biggest news of 2021, absolutely. We have Future Stacks. We have ACTV WandaVision After Hour show. We have interviews, 30 minutes with interviews.
Yeah.
This is doing so tons and tons of new content.
We can even mention this. You talked about Space Bastards, and we confirmed we're going to have Eric Peterson, Joe Aubrey, and Derek Robertson are going to have a little chit chatty with me here. Yes. So that should be out next week. And
fan of that book.
Yep,
I like it.
Yeah.
Do I sound okay? Can you hear me?
I'm fine.
Okay, just making sure.
Sal reset up his technical setup. He's putting like winches and gimbals, and
I got shit hanging from the ceiling. I got a chair over here, some sort of swing over here.
Boom mic.
I got multiple boom mics. I have a ring light if I need it. I got a ring light here, for my to clear up my skin a little bit. Does that look better? Does that give me a little?
You look pregnant now. You're glowing.
A little pop.
And
Nice.
Also, as always, you can contact us at info@aroundcomics.com or on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok.
We're on TikTok now.
We do have a TikTok. Tom is going to be inventing an Around Comics TikTok dance at some point this year.
Yeah, it's going to go viral.
It's going to go very viral.
I actually, Tom, do you follow Charlie Barron's on TikTok?
I don't.
Or on anything else? Do you know Charlie?
I do.
Barron?
I'm not on. I don't follow anything on TikTok. I got too much social media in my life.
Oh yeah, I understand. I did it basically because I was just screwing around with the Around Comics account. Charlie Barron's does the Manitowoc Minute, and it's very, very.
Every time we have an episode, we have to talk about Wisconsin in some way. Just because you fucking moved there,
it's very funny, Sal.
Talking about fucking.
It's very funny.
Chicago. Now you moved to fucking, and then it was St. Louis for some reason. You never stopped talking about there.
I talk what I know
about Wisconsin.
I talk what I know, which unfortunately is some comics, which we should probably jump into. I think this is just kind of I don't know if we have a whole lot planned. It's just going to be a little bit of what we was reading here. It's wild card weekend. Tom, I'm actually really interested in what you read this week. I want to get your thoughts and insight. Why don't you lead us off?
Sure. I wanted to talk about one thing and one thing only.
Nice.
That was the Star Wars: The High Republic from Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Though it is confusing because there's another comic called Star Wars: The High Republic Adventures from IDW, which I was trying to, which is kind of confusing. Both from the fact that the names are so, they take place obviously in the same universe, but it's a little strange that they wouldn't separate those names out a tad more. I'm looking at you, Lucasfilm creative directors. You gotta give your stuff better names.
The High Republic all takes place like before anything that we've seen. It's before the prequels. It's right.
Yes.
It's the High Republic. So
yeah, and it's like a multi. There's like novels and graphic novels, and like it's this whole Lucasfilm led creative endeavor to sort of create a bunch of stories, right? And I mean, I think, though I have no evidence of this, I imagine the success of The Mandalorian has convinced them of the worth of doing these sort of things, of like making new characters and trying to, elaborate upon other things happening in the universe. I mean, it's interesting because there's a series coming out from IDW, there's a series coming out from Marvel. It's all sort of under the same, there's Lucasfilm involvement in all of it. So it's very like, it's very thought out, it's not like a licensed thing where it's like, here, you bought this license, do something. And, like we'll split the money, like there's obviously some sort of forethought going into it.
They keep things in canon pretty tight. Yeah.
So yeah, it's I'm looking at the credits here. It's written by I'm going to mispronounce these names. Kevin Scott, Ario Anindito. Mark Morales is the inker. It's pretty good. I'm sort of having a renaissance with my own Star Wars fanhood, both from the fact that my son is very into Star Wars now. So I've rewatched all the Star Wars movies with him, and he's got the childlike enthusiasm to not be bored by any of them. Even though sometimes some of them are pretty boring, he doesn't seem to care. So he watches them with the same enthusiasm, and the fact that the Mandalorian was such a success and kind of showed like you don't have to have Darth Vader in it to make it work. You can certainly have characters people know about, but it doesn't have to center around them, and you can tell interesting stories and you can sprinkle that stuff in. And, all the stuff, Jon Favreau constantly kicking off new universes, every 10 years. It's really, it's like kind of scratches my comic book universe itch, like being the properly jaded superhero fan, I find it hard to care that much about what happens in Marvel or DC most of the time now, just because once you've gone around the bend a few times, you're just sort of like, okay, whatever, I don't really care what's happening in the Marvel universe per se. So it kind of a weird way, and I was never much of a extended universe person as far as Star Wars goes when I was a kid, because it always just kind of felt like I didn't really want to know more about like what Chewbacca was up to afterwards, like it always felt very secondary and very like
you didn't want to know about the inner workings of the Jedi Council. Yeah,
it all felt very like licensed comicsy to not to be I guess people worked very hard on it and got paid for it, but it just never felt that necessary. It just kind of felt like that's like extra stuff. Maybe I'd read something here or there. So, I found myself very drawn to like when they sort of announced that this was happening. I was kind of like, oh, okay, I might check some of these out just because I'm kind of going through my own, like I said, renaissance of Star Wars fandom. Yeah, and it follows a group of Jedi, before the prequels. It's not involved with the Sith. It's not like part of any sort of like Skywalker saga type thing. It's its sort of own story with new characters, and it was pretty good. It scratched, like that. I'm like, oh, I want to see what else is happening in this universe when I read this. There's nothing, like it's not reinventing the wheel. It's pretty much like rookie cop trying to get their bearings straight. Just like Mandalorian is, jaded warrior protecting child. Like most good Star Wars things, the story itself is not an overly complicated thing to understand. Just done very well in just sort of like an interesting way. And seeing, the main star of it is somebody who she's just become a Jedi and she's not totally confident in what she's doing. And like, it's interesting to see that all the Jedi in the book all have different personalities. Like, I guess if you could have one of the many criticisms of the prequels was hard to tell that some of the Jedi apart from each other because they all were sort of suffering from Gardner-Fox syndrome.
Yeah, they're all the same character.
They're all the same character. You could just switch the bubbles around. With a few exceptions, most of those characters were sort of interchangeable almost all the time. Though I think the Clone Wars cartoon did a pretty good job of kind of showing different personalities and that different Jedi have different approaches to their job. It's not necessarily like a monolithic approach to what they do. So this comic kind of continued that, idea of, here's a Jedi who isn't totally sure of what she's doing. She's trying to do the right thing the whole time. Her master is somebody who's suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome from something that happened to him, and he is not able to just sort of detach himself from something bad that's happened, and it still bothers him. And the Jedi just seem very like alive and like real people and sort of interesting, combination of characters in that sense, and it takes place in the Outer Rim, and it's got like sort of almost like a little bit of Deep Space Nine inspiration to it, as well as it takes place on a space station out in the frontier. That's like the base where the Jedi are working from there. So it's like a very, I've seen a lot of these components before, but they're kind of put together in a pretty interesting way.
Are the Jedi kind of like Green Lanterns at this? Are they kind of like viewed as like the top cops in the universe?
I mean, they kind of just treat it like. I to be honest, I don't know. They haven't done enough stories yet to figure out exactly how people.
Oh, that's fine.
Look at them, but I mean, design-wise and everything, it's pretty cool to like see. The art does a really good job of like. It makes them almost feel more not medieval-ish, but it doesn't feel like the modern Jedi that we see in the Star Wars books. And yeah, I was like, oh, I'll keep reading this. This kind of scratches that comic book universe itch I have.
Nice. I felt the same way whenever I was reading the Charles Soule Darth Vader books. I was like, yeah, this is really fun. I enjoy it. And these are good comics. I thought the Jason Aaron Star Wars relaunch was good. I even like some of the Kieran Gillen stuff. So yeah, it's actually a really nice time for Star Wars comics, and it has been for a while.
Yeah,
I would say for Star Wars fans in general, it's
sure. Yeah.
So much cool stuff. Actually, comic book fans in general too. I don't know that there's a like more comic book related shit you could possibly.
It's too much.
Can't keep up with it. It's I literally. So I have a TV by my desk now, and I just want to have like mindless things on in the background. So I put on DC's Legends of Tomorrow, and I can barely pay attention to it and get most of the story. Yeah,
I watched the other day Batman Soul of the Dragon. It's
is that good?
Film. It's set in the 70s. It's very James Bondish, but it's Richard Dragon, and then you also get Bronze Tigers in it, and a few other characters are in it, and then Batman.
Is that on the Max?
Yeah, and it was good. It was nothing, special, or like, I probably would never watch it again. It wasn't something like I was just like, oh, this is amazing, but it was fun that it was like, oh, a 70s, movie, kung fu, sort of, God, what's the word? Spy, thriller,
espionage.
Yeah, espionage cartoon. It's like, okay, yeah, I can spend a couple hours on it.
Do you ever have a shirtless Batman?
I don't remember. You definitely have shirtless Richard Dragon.
Okay,
yeah, definitely. Nice.
Which my son is like, why would anyone name him Dick Dragon? That's terrible.
It's Richard Dragon. No one calls him Dick Dragon twice.
And it was funny watching that, though. I kept thinking about Johnny Woo and how the guy who plays Johnny Woo, and it's like Richard Dragon's kind of another what's the other Johnny Woo character? It's Johnny Woo. That kind of like espionage, kung fu dude from that era. But it was fun. It was fun just to kind of like, not care that much about it, but at the same time, just like be like, oh, the kung fu was very good. The fight scenes were excellent.
Nice
in it. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, they better be, because that's kind of
what. Yeah. It was
there for.
Yeah. And then I wish I could tell you the name of the villain. There were a bunch of villains, but the one guy, it was all snake related, but I don't know who they were. I'm
Cobra?
Just not.
Wasn't Cobra?
Could have been Cobra. I don't know. I don't know those. For some reason, I don't know the DC snake villains like I know
Copperhead,
Marvel snake villains.
Anaconda, Serpent Society.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was pretty cool. I dug it.
Nice, very cool. I got one that I think at least Sal read. Did you read Chained Coffin #1 or Chain? Oh, I'm sorry, not Chained Coffin. That was one of our trade talks. Chained to the Grave.
I read about half of it.
Okay, I
said this is nonsense, and I put it away.
It is ridiculous, but really pretty to look at.
Very pretty to look at, and if you're into like really just weird, nonsensical stories, like, and I don't mean that in a bad way, just sort of like
it's wacky. It's wacky and weird.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like I didn't get it really so much. It felt like go
back, read it, because I think the conclusion of the first issue is pretty good.
It felt to me like a Devo song. That's what it felt like. This is kind of cool, but I don't fucking know what they're singing about. I don't understand. You know what I mean? But I don't know.
Yeah. The setup is that there is a old westy kind of black hat guy, a criminal named Roy Mason, who so that's the Roy Mason thing, who at the beginning of this is brought back from the dead and comes out of his grave, which he is by the looks of it, unfortunately chained to his headstone, and you find out that it's his wife who has made a deal with some witch to resurrect him, and so I did
not grasp any of this. Maybe I was just, I don't know.
Yeah. You're sleepy, maybe.
Maybe you're telling me what you're telling me sounds good. Like now, I want to go back and read it.
Yeah, it's it's him. It's him and his family, basically welcoming him back. And oh, by the way, it's a really vibrant, pretty interiors, you would expect, this is basically a zombie. Oh, it's a zombie Western story. So I mean, that's your quick pitch. It's a zombie Western story. But the color palette that the artist, and it's Kate Sharon or Sharon, I think it's Sharon probably, is the only credited artist, and Micah Myers on letters. But I would think with like a zombie Western, you would go with a really muted palette and a lot of earth tones. And this thing, it's almost neon in some of the coloring. It is like super cartoony bright, and just, it's kind of bonkers looking, and fits a very, I don't want to say, it sounds terrible saying like a Nickelodeon art style, but I mean, the art style, it has like that, like crazy cartoony style to it. I thought it was beautiful. And the story, it's a little wandering, and you're trying to figure out, like who the real bad guy is, what is really going on. But yeah, it was one of the things I actually enjoyed reading this week, because I had no idea what it was coming into it. It was kind of on your future stacks. I was like, oh yeah, I'll circle that and pick it up if it's at the comic shop, and it was. And it's just a fun, weird, wacky Western.
It is beautiful. It does have a cartoony look. Like there's a little bit of like Kripfalusi, who did Ren and Stimpy. There's a little bit of Ren and Stimpy into it.
Yeah, there's a little Ren and Stimpy in there, a little SpongeBob, but it's not all. But it's also a zombie story, so there's like some weirdo, gruesome, almost like if like Mignola was trying to draw a kids comic.
That's a very good way to say it. Yeah. All right, now I'm gonna go back and read it seriously this time. I started reading it, and I'm just like, well, it looks really pretty, but this makes no sense, and I stopped about halfway through. I'm like, I
can't understand this damn story.
I'm not smart enough for this goddamn kids.
Put on the Richard Dragon cartoon.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's meant to be smart. I think it's just kind of it's just kind of like, almost like pop art comics.
I'm just dumb.
No, you're not dumb.
I'm dumb. God damn it.
But yeah, that got the I will buy the next issue seal of approval.
Maybe I'll wait for the trade.
That's at the end of the issue. Chris said out loud, "I'm going to get the." That's it. I'm getting the next one.
Well, there were two other books I bought this week that I did not have that answer for.
Yeah,
next issue.
Well, we talk about Space Bastards already, but I read the second issue. They actually sent us a preview of the second issue, and I really like this book. It's the right kind of wacky silliness that I kind of want right now. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of irreverent and just out of control, and terrible characters who are awful and treat people awfully and monstrous, and it's exactly what I want right now. I just want something that is
wants to read about horrible guy.
Yeah, horrible people. It opens up with a dude on a toilet, trying to figure out how his company is failing, and at an Indian reservation casino. It's a fucking lunatic.
Nobody can bankrupt a casino. You'd have to be the stupidest piece of shit in the world to do that.
I don't think he might own the casino. I don't know. But what I was going to say, though, what I really liked about this particular issue was basically it's an origin story for the company, for who the Space Bastards are and where they came from. And I like that they did this in the second issue. The first issue is all action and like you're thrown into it. and you meet some of the characters, but you don't really understand what's going on so much, but you can pick it up. It's not that difficult. And it's about this, intergalactic mail delivery system where you basically hire mercenaries to deliver mail to different planets because it's super dangerous because of space pirates. So you get these really badass dudes who get paid really well to make these deliveries because it's extremely expensive to do. But why is that like exist is sort of you're left asking that question at the first issue. Second issue answers all that, and you meet the guy who sort of fell into the business, and it was a failing business in debt because nobody was making actual intergalactic space deliveries. They were just doing local ones on planet Earth because it was too dangerous because of all the space pirates. And he figured out a way to kind of get around that and go, well, I'm going to just hire the worst human beings on the planet that have no qualms about killing, and I'm going to hide them from the cops essentially so they can go and fucking do whatever they want to do and get paid ridiculous amounts of money to make these deliveries, and they can kill as many space pirates as they want. So we learn all that sort of you learn the progression of this character who owns the place, and you get to meet, like his introduction to the first space bastard, who is the guy Manicorn from the first issue, and also just his background and how it all came about. But at the same time, it's very, I mean, this, not to give it too high a praise, because it's certainly to this point, I would not say that it even has the potential to be like another comic that I'm going to mention, but it has a feel of like Preacher to me a little bit. It's just a little bit of, we're just like, everybody's kind of a piece of shit. Everybody's horrible, even though they're trying to be redeemable. But like I said, this doesn't, it might have that potential to become sort of as big of a book or as deep of a as Preacher. But I don't know that this will ever get to that point. Maybe. I don't honestly think it will, but nonetheless, it's very fun and just kind of ridiculous violence. And
another Derek Robertson book, the boys. It's got a little boys in there.
Yeah, it's irreverence. It's just wackiness and craziness and nobody giving a shit. It's just a bunch of people that don't give a shit, and they're basically criminals in space, and shitty managers and shitty CEOs and shitty people. It's just a book of shitty people, but I like it a lot. So yeah, that was my my pick for this week for sure.
Did you, speaking of, it's the Derek Robertson Love Fest apparently. Did you finish this?
I did not. I didn't. Okay.
We'll save it. We'll save it because I want to get your thoughts on it.
Okay.
It's the third and final issue of Hellblazer Rise and Fall. It finished strong, like you would expect it to, because it's been a really good Constantine story throughout. So yeah, I look forward to talking to you about that next week. But yeah,
if there was a fourth issue, you'd get it.
If there was a fourth issue, I would purchase that, Tom.
So, yeah. Someone should do that. They should announce it's like a 3-issue miniseries, and then be like, "Oh, here's number 4." We just pull I'm trying to think of
the extra issue. The
books by. I'm doing an old man thing right now where I can't remember the title of the book, nor can I remember.
Game of Thrones.
The author of the book. No, this is somebody who finished what they were doing.
Oh, and then
the restaurant at the end of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Where it was a trilogy and ended up being like 5 books.
Yeah, the 5 book trilogy, which is a very Douglas Adams things to do. Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to read that book. I did read Hitchhiker's Guide, but no, the Rise and Fall of Hellblazer. But I was too busy reading issue 1 of the Freedom Fighters and listening to Tom.
Nice. Old, hastily thought out Freedom Fighters.
It is so good though. I have to compliment you, Tom. I don't know that I would ever listen to anyone else talk about a single issue of a comic book, but you always make me think of things in such a different way. Like the way that you go through it, it just you have such a unique perspective on it and have fun with it the whole time. Which I think is the key, that you enjoy it even though it's ridiculous, or maybe because it is.
Fun City is a thing people called New York City in the 70s. Ironically,
they called
it was
Welcome to Fun City.
It was, yes, it was. I was digging around about that, and I felt like no one has called it that since then. But it was like the mayor at the time called it Fun City, and people latched onto it ironically because New York was not Fun City in the 70s.
No,
kind of like when Daly called Chicago the Paris of the West.
I kind of remember like a sign or something, "Welcome to Fun City," or something like that. Seeing that in one of the many documentaries made about how everyone loved New York in the fucking 70s, and yet they miss the horrible fucking drug riddled and porn shop Times Square.
Yeah. Now that's Times Square, baby.
Yeah, that's what everybody says now, and it's just like, no, it was a fucking pit. Are you kidding me? Jesus, nobody fucking liked it.
They need to find somewhere in between for Times Square.
Yeah, that's fine. I can understand, a certain amount of dirt.
It's really funny to go from one extreme of I won't go there to the opposite. Also, I won't go there.
There needs to be an equal.
It's like now it's just like, oh god, it's like
there needs to be an equal number of hookers to people dressed up like Elmo.
It's like, oh yeah, with this such a complete transformation. Also, still won't go there.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see
that place. Yeah, I mean, I haven't read those Freedom Fighters issues in a very long time, and they are, they're funny because the Freedom Fighters are just like, it's weird. Like they're not like really a team. Like DC just threw them together. They were all. They were Uncle Sam, not the iconic, the poster character Uncle Sam, but Will Eisner did the comic version of Uncle Sam. Like there are all these like just weird random characters that DC own that they threw together and do a team.
Now, that's almost a better story of I want to see like a modern day Freedom Fighters where all these heroes are thrown together only because somehow they relate to like patriotism.
Yeah.
But they all have a different idea of what patriotism is.
It's like, I guess you got Uncle Sam, we got this doll man. I guess we can put him in there. I guess, I don't know.
The Human Bomb.
I love the Human Bomb. It's a great character. But yeah.
What does he do? He explodes.
It just explodes when he touches things. He
misses stuff. He misses the bad guy and hits a light post.
Yeah, he's constantly never hitting the thing. It's like a stormtrooper in Star Wars. Like, terrible beam, dangerous power to have. Yeah, I mean, it's funny to think about like how creatively mercenary that is to be like, we own these characters. Just like fucking toss them together. I don't know. Put them on Earth X with a bunch of Nazis.
Do they still do that basically to keep the copyright going for some characters where they have to like bring them out of storage every once in a while or they lose the rights to them? Is that a thing?
I think that's why you would do a 15-issue series of it. I mean, you might publish a story in an annual or something about the character.
Yeah.
But I don't know that comes up that much. I think with that, it's more just like, hey, we want another book on the shelves. Yeah. What do we got left? What's left over? Yeah. I mean, you got to, in the 70s, I don't know what, I'm trying to think of what the market looked like.
It's a bicentennial.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it was 1976. America was. That was probably more than anything. Yeah.
We gotta get ourselves a bicentennial comic out there. What do we got?
I bet you that's really what it is.
Uncle Sam. Okay, Uncle Sam by himself doesn't work. What else? We got Doll Man. I mean, they had appeared previously in the JLA. You know, that was how they were reintroduced. Was, you know, they lived on Earth X, but without doing any research, I bet it was like, let's give the freedom fighters a book.
Absolutely.
Bicentennial.
Because it was 1976, this bicentennial, and yeah, I'm sure the country was. I remember I had a bicentennial plate for some reason when I was a kid, because
went nuts for that.
I was like 5 years old. Why would I?
Collector's plate. 200 years, baby. We did it.
Give me it.
Give
me that Uncle Sam comic.
Yeah, speaking of weird long reads, I am partly for our ACTV stuff. I started probably reading for the first time in 30-something years the Wanda and the Vision limited series, or Vision and the Scarlet Witch, which I forgot was a 12-issue limited series.
Woo-hoo! A long one, baby.
There you go.
Yeah. So
is it well?
It's Steve Englehart, so you know, for the time, it's fine. But yeah, it's rolling out all of Marvel's like C and D list villains and that kind of stuff. So it's it's oddly similar to WandaVision. It's Wanda and Vision moving into a suburban house and her conjuring up twins.
Really? I don't remember.
It's WandaVision. It's WandaVision.
Seen it. I mean, I know I've read it. I know I read it back in the day.
Yeah. But one of the featured villains is Grim Reaper, so that's part of the foreshadowing. So yeah, there's a lot. I think in between the Vision, it's 12 issues plus an issue of West Coast Avengers is slammed in there. But yeah, I think between the Vision and Scarlet Witch miniseries and then Tom King's Vision series, I think those like 24, 25 issues were kind of the basis for WandaVision. So maybe we'll talk about that this week. I
can honestly say the
Howell, I think his last name was.
The Vision is one of those characters that I do not care. I have zero feeling about the Vision at all. I'm always just like, it's the Vision.
Yeah, I had actually totally forgotten because he runs down in this exposition-laden explanation of his origin. I forgot that the body that the Vision ends up using or becoming was the original Human Torch. And I don't know if that was retconned in at some point, but yeah, he was the 1940s
I thought he
Human
was
Torch.
Huh? I thought he was Ultron.
No, Ultron created Vision.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. With his the brain waves or whatever that Ultron implanted into the body of the Human Torch, or they were Simon Williams. It was Wonder Man's.
And Simon Williams.
I think the Avengers movies are the closest I've ever come to caring.
Yes,
about the Vision.
That good.
I'm just like, okay, maybe I could see myself perhaps caring.
It's the best depiction of Vision, in my opinion.
There's a Scarlet Witch series from James Robinson on Hoopla that I keep meaning to read. I just haven't gotten around. Called Witch's Road.
When did he do that?
This 2016. It looks like 2000. Okay. But it's got a bunch of different artists on it, including Steve Dillon does a part. Oh. Yeah, Vanessa Del Rey, Marco Rudy, Steve Dillon, Chris Visions, Javier Pulido.
Chris Visions. They just had to throw him in.
Yeah, right. But I haven't actually read it, so I don't know. I don't know if it's any good. I did read this.
Ooh, Man Bat.
#1.
Man-Bat #1.
Are you going to buy #2?
I think I will.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, all the preview pages are in here. Oh well, I guess we could just get to see this. I really liked it. Man-Bat's one of those kind of silly characters to some degree. And he's even kind of silly in this. When Langston becomes Man-Bat, and then Man-Bat is sort of narrating his own, action. He's a little silly. He's a little, he's kind of dumb. Man-Bat's a little dumb.
Always. Man-Bat's always just fucking dumb as shit.
Yeah. He's just very animalistic. And, in this one, though, I guess a couple of things that change from your typical Man-Bat story is that his ever-loving wife, who has always sort of, you've always seen her kind of stand by him no matter what, and kind of always be there for him. She finally has had enough because
stand by your Man-Bat.
Yeah,
for a while.
But she's had enough, and so she leaves him, which kind of spurs him on to take the Man-Bat juice or whatever the hell the formula.
The Man-Bat juice.
The Man-Bat juice.
I drank the Man-Bat juice. Oh shit! Guess I'm gonna drain the Man-Bat.
But you get a lot of Batman in it as well, and Batman has found out that Langstrom has actually, at this point, he has affected his own DNA because he's taken so much of the formula, and he is going to slowly turn into Man-Bat permanently. He is so genetically, like, he's actually changing his DNA, and he is going to be.
He's a Man-Bat.
Yeah, he will be Man-Bat, and so that's sort of this story is kind of kicks off with. I think it's a 5-issue or 6 issues, and so it's just like, okay, how does he get out of this one? How does he not turn into Man-Bat permanently? But
I think it's going to be a murderous meltdown.
Could be. Well,
it says it begins here.
It does.
I think he will just become Man-Bat.
You think he will be, and no more Robert? Is it Robert Langstrom?
Everyone just wants to do that.
Maybe my favorite part of the issue was the point where there's it's sort of that typical Batman-esque. You've seen it in comics and films where like there's some criminals doing some criminal shit, and then they're like, we gotta hurry up because he's gonna be here soon. If we don't stop screwing around, he's gonna show up. And then this bat shadow hits them, and they're like, oh shit, he's here, it's Batman. And then Man-Bat, it was actually Man-Bat, and he says, no, it's Man-Bat. So you got that, how do you play it? You can't play Man-Bat. I don't think
straight.
Yeah, too straight. So there's a little goofiness to it, but I kind of liked it. It was fun. It was
art is great in this.
The art, very good. Very.
Who is it?
Something Kumar. It doesn't. Let's see. If I can pull it up here.
I almost picked it up, but yeah, DC's kind of killing me a little bit with all the #1s. It's Tom talked a little bit about Future State, and I'm just like, no, hard pass.
Or Sumit, Sumit Kumar, Summit Kumar. I'm not familiar with him. But yeah, the art was very good. I thought it like crossed the line really well, or held the line really well between like a classic style and a newer style. You know what I mean? Like it's because I think it worked well for this story of it being a little classic looking because he's such a throwback kind of character. But yeah, it was really good. It was, the art was excellent, and it was fun. If you're a Man-Bat fan, I don't think you'll be disappointed. And if you're not, well, you just should rethink your life. I think.
Nice.
I always have a soft spot for series about like Batman's bad guys, where I don't always love the Batman series themselves sometimes as much as like I like Man-Bat with Batman showing up. You know, it's kind of like
That's exactly what this is. This is Man-Bat.
I've seen a lot. I've read a lot of Batman. You know, I've read. You know, I've gotten my fill of Batman stories over the years. So it's always a little bit fun to have one of these. You know, have a Man-Bat story where Batman pops in for a little bit and then pops back out. It's
You get enough of the Batman, you get the Gotham thing, you get but it was more about Man-Bat than Batman.
Nice.
Yeah,
It
fun
should
stuff.
be. It's the main. It's the title character.
It seems like they're doing. I think DC is trying to like find their next Harley Quinn or something. Like they're
sure.
just going
around.
Let's dig around, take all these villains and turn them into sort of sympathetic.
I don't think it's going to be Man-Bat.
Hey,
I would love it if Man-Bat took off.
we should just see Man-Bat everywhere, like tween kids, going to
Wearing Man-Bat costume. You're just like a bat. I'm just like Man-Bat.
Man-Bat, dude. What's wrong with you?
What's wrong? What don't you understand?
Man-Bat TikTok dance.
Man-Bat cartoon.
Man-Bat challenge. The man.
Just dumb Man-Bat running into a wall.
Yeah, I think that would be better for everyone.
There was a couple funny Man-Bat stories in those 100-page giant issues that came out here in the past year or so. That's and it was my recollection is not having Man-Bat played for laughs. Apparently I just haven't read a whole lot of Man-Bat comics.
Don't get me wrong. It's not a
but the short story was absolutely being played for laughs. Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's because he's just, the idea of it's just goofy.
Yeah.
It's like he's a giant. Oh, you know who Batman needs? He needs a Man-Bat to fight, and it's like
it's a very 70s character, man.
There was
extremely, like a little horror-esque.
It's like Neil Adams just wanted to draw a Man-Bat.
Yeah.
There is another really line that I enjoyed when Man-Bat's flying around the city and all of a sudden he sees Batman and he's just like, imposter. I was like, that's pretty awesome. I kind of love that.
That's hilarious.
He looks at Batman with contempt, and he basically says I think he says something around the lines of he mocks me with that terrible costume. I'm like, that's awesome. This is how you write a Man-Bat book.
Yeah, that's how maybe he will be the next Harley Quinn. That's awesome.
Love it.
Do we have time for any more? I know that we have probably, I don't want to, if we have any emails or listener feedback or any of that. Sally,
I had some, and I don't know what I did with it. I had some listener feedback.
Printed it out, lost it.
No, it was actually screenshots from Instagram and our Instagram page and our Facebook page. And I was like, I'll screenshot these and save them for later. And I don't know where I put. I'm really having an old man moment where I don't honestly know where I put them.
Get lost.
You'll find them right after we're done with the show.
Three old men doing their own show get lost talking about it.
Terrible. It's terrible. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I do. Oh wait, I do have one here. I don't know. This one's kind of a long one, but this goes back to episode 336. This was a comment someone left on Instagram.
Okay.
It's a screen name is Mbop, and apparently this is the episode. One of the episodes where I shit on the Beach Boys. And
oh no, I also shit on the Beach Boys. So no.
He says, OMG, Sal, meh on Pet Sounds. How dare you? People all over the world know at least one Beach Boys song. That alone gives them a place in history. I replied to him And I said,
Oh.
haha, I didn't say they weren't catchy songs. I just think they were only so popular in part because they were clean-cut white guys. I still think Pet Sounds is lame. And he replied to me, LMAO, fair enough. I'm a fish head, so there's that. And I'd recommend the trilogy of vampire books by Christopher Moore.
Yes.
Fiends or something like that. Kind of spoofy, like that What We Do FX show, What We Do in the Shadows. I personally think Moore is super overrated as far as that goes, like a poor man's Hunter S. Thompson or Kurt Vonnegut, but I will never not agree that Brian Wilson is a goddamn genius, and not the loose version of the term everyone throws around. There would be no Sgt. Pepper's without Pet Sounds. Oh, and lastly, I agree with everything you said about the boys. It's not great after the gimmick wears thin. Sorry for the long diatribe. I just listened to the podcast, and this is my only social media these days. LOL. So, okay. So we have that.
I think the Beatles were recording Sgt. Pepper's when Pet Sounds came out. So
I don't know. They're all overrated. They're come on, whatever.
I'm not gonna get into this argument with you guys again.
Circus music bullshit.
Fucking Kaleidos. What the fuck are these?
But yes, check out the Christopher Moore vampire. Is it a vampire trilogy? I like the Christopher Moore books. They're a lot of fun. I just read his Shakespeare spoofs, which are pretty funny.
I have not read his books. I will.
Blood-Sucking Fiends is really good. The one
I can't get through a book. It takes me 8 months to get through a book.
Yeah. I have enough driving that I just do audiobooks now.
You read while you drive.
I read and text. Absolutely.
Tesla?
Huh?
You have a Tesla? You could do it in that.
No. Yeah. No, I do not. I have a Jeep Renegade. And it's used. Last book I wanted to mention real quick. I won't go real super in depth with it, but it's Fear Case by Matt Kent and Tyler Jenkins, Hillary Jenkins on art, and the art is certainly a reason to buy it. I think it's weird because it's kind of like Matt Kent's art, but not really. I mean, it's Jenkins art, but it fits with Matt Kent's his style as a writer.
His aesthetic.
Yes, his writing aesthetic. Real briefly, I liked it, Tom, enough to buy issue 2. It's kind of a buddy cop supernatural thriller. There's a little bit of Seven in here. There's a little bit of what's the Ethan Hawke and Denzel Washington will Training Day. These are 2 Treasury officers because they're Secret Service, right? So they're 2 Treasury officers that are in the first year of working for the department. This is where the kind of big suspension of disbelief comes in, is that there is a case that they give to the new agents, and no one has ever solved it, and actually some agents have gone insane for following this case, and whenever you come into the department, you have a year to solve it, and no one has ever solved it, and it's about this
like an HR nightmare.
Yeah, it is an HR nightmare. So that's kind of the
biggest people keep going crazy. Why do we keep giving it to people? We should just.
Why do you keep doing this?
Let me get this straight. This case has made people go insane.
Yes.
And you keep giving it to them?
So it's a weird setup, but
it's still another one of these cursed cases.
This is my 3rd this month.
Yeah, but it's got the good buddy cop movie vibe going on, and it's a little bit of a horror story. And so they're trying to track down this fear case. It is a box, and they don't know what it is, but it's at the center of multiple homicides and massacres and horrible things, kind of like throughout history, and it keeps popping up and moving around the planet. And I don't know why the Treasury Department has this as a case. Another thing that's a little weird, but yeah. So they track down where the case might actually be, and there's like this weird 100 bullets thing about it. It's if you have the case, the only way to get rid of it is to give it to the person that you hate most in the world, and if you wait more than 3 days, it will destroy the person that you love the most in the world. It's a weird comic.
A lot of rules.
A lot of rules. It's a lot. Yes. It is like a 90s horror movie. It is a lot of rules, but it's still. I can say at the end of the issue, I enjoyed it. It's weird. It's kind of macabre. It's a lot of different things. Making sense is not one of them, but it's an enjoyable little read as long as you're okay getting past a few of those things. Good. I would say good, not great. I'll definitely check back in on it though.
I think.
Are you getting next issue?
This might be a wait for the trader on it. So.
Oh my god. I think Matt Kent is like, he loves. Machine. Well, no, but I think he obviously loves like urban legends and like like American myth kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like everything. If you look at like his body of work, he likes sort of creating these almost like Paul Bunyan sort of histories and characters and things, and this kind of fits in it in a horror way where it's like this thing has existed for centuries, and maybe and people have been investigating the fear case forever, and even as weird and as odd and unlikely as it is, there's something charming about the way that Kent is able to tell stories like this. It's certainly not realistic, but it's
like Mysteries at the Museum with Matt Kent.
Yeah. That's a really accurate description. It's like it takes you to like, there's something I'm trying to think of it like almost like Penny, what were they called? The Old West books,
Penny Dreadful,
like Penny Dreadfuls, or like just like real cheap. Not, and I mean this in a good way. He, like the stuff he makes is like really super genre fiction.
Yeah, like the pulps.
Like pulps and Penny Dreadfuls and that kind of thing, and it's like almost like cheap throwaway fiction. In a way where it's just like, just enjoy it for what it is. Don't try and like overanalyze it, or don't try and like compare it to anything else. It's just like, it's just going to be a story, and it's self-contained in its own world, and don't worry.
Stories of oddities.
It's I don't, like I said, there's something urban legendy about all the stories he does. It has that feel of like the biggest ball of twine, or the
curse behind the world's largest ball of twine.
Which I love. I love that stuff. I love that, all that kind of stuff, and it's just. But
he is actually a very good writer. I love his dialogue. He makes really good, believable characters in a very short amount of time. I mean, 2 pages into this book, and who these two guys are, and it doesn't even show. It's basically through a few lines of dialogue, you get a really good sense from what would normally be thought of as a throwaway, conversation about coffee. You get to know who these two guys are, and it's really, really well done.
I feel like he's starting to build into like almost like a Brubaker-esque writer, where he can kind of tell you any kind of story he wants, and it's going to be solid. It's, you know what I mean? Like, no, he can kind of go. I mean, Brubaker obviously has really, gone into the crime stuff, but the noir kind of thing. But I mean, even within that, he tells stories in different eras, stories in different types of, whether it's Old West, whether it's in California, whether it's New York, that kind of thing. And Kint, I feel like he's getting to that level of like, it's his work, it's going to be good. It's almost like an automatic, but it's going to be something different. Like, he goes even weirder and stranger, but
oh yeah,
it's grounded too. Like, there's something about it. Yeah.
I like Matt's work a lot. He also, I just saw his Kickstarter is going to end up being the largest pre-sale comic in like the modern era.
What is that? I don't even know what it is.
Circer. It's Keanu Reeves.
Okay, yeah.
Book that he's doing with Keanu Reeves. It's some ridiculous number of pre-sales that they have.
It's Keanu Reeves. I mean, come on.
It's kind of the Keanu Reeves effect.
Yeah,
so,
a
little bit. I actually did. Matt Kent designed. He with a board game designer did a mind management board game that I backed on Kickstarter probably about a year ago, knowing that it wasn't going to release until 2021. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing the mind management board game. It was pretty cool.
We got to get back on our Kickstarter, kicking out the jams. We haven't gotten enough good Kickstarter recommendations from people. We're going to kick out some jams. Hey, I got a couple of comments here if we want to just go them real quick. The first one's from Andy Jewett. We know Andy. Said, you guys rock. Got a jet, though. I will watch the rest later. Always good to see and hear you three.
He's such a good guy.
Yeah, I haven't seen Andy in a long time, but old AC.
OG AC.
OG AC for sure. And then Wayne Musso just did, love the show, guys.
Well, thanks, Wayne.
Yeah, thank you. That's awesome. We love that you love the show.
Yeah, we love the interaction during the live streams. Just so everyone knows that we do record the show live on Tuesdays about 8:00 Central Standard Time. You can check that out on the Facebooks and YouTube and Periscope and Salk and Twitch. We're on Twitch. That's good. It's then released. If you're listening to this, then it's released as an audio podcast later. And we've talked a lot about the Patreon stuff tonight, but you can go to patreon.com/aroundcomics and check that out. It's $5 a month for just an avalanche of awesome content that we're throwing out.
Buttload
of content. I think so much that my wife has said that is too much content for that.
Why?
She's like, you need to pay. I pay $15 a month to my romance novel Patreon podcast. Yeah, I was like, I know. We're not in that league with the romance podcast. But
I did want to mention something, and now I forgot what it was. God damn it! Senile, man. I'm turning 50 in a couple of days.
Man, senior moments
falling apart.
What's happening?
I don't even know. Yeah, it wasn't Patreon. It was something else. But I'm
lost it.
All right.
If you are watching the show on YouTube, please hit subscribe and the like button. It does
like and subscribe.
Like helps the algorithm so more people will find the show. I don't think that was it. I had something else, and now I can't. God damn it! This is really pathetic.
Grandpa Salazar.
It's not good. It's not good,
See,
man.
I'm sharp tonight. I'm on the wagon. I'm off the juice.
Off the juice. You were on the juice Sunday, I believe. I can always tell when Sunday at 6 o'clock. Chris was.
Yeah, I was like, let's talk about WandaVision.
Let me tell you about the vision.
Yeah, I haven't had a drink since then.
Oh, well, that's 2 days. Wow, congratulations! You're fucking. Did you get your coin?
It's a long time for me, Sal. It's a real long time.
As I finished my Tom Collins.
Sit here and have my tea.
God, I can't remember. There was something I wanted to bring up. Son of a bitch. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember now. It'll something I wanted to tell the listeners, and I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. Email us at info@aroundcomics.com. Ask us your questions, give us your comments, whatever. We love chit-chatting about that. Ask us silly questions, and we'll give you silly and not so silly answers. I think that's it. We got is that it, guys?
You can buy shirts and hats and stuff like that from aroundcomics.com/shop. Still not what I wanted to say, but I did remember that too.
Well, keep throwing pitches at him.
I had a fucking damn it.
Well, hopefully you'll remember by Tuesday, because next Tuesday, because that's when we'll be back to talk about more comics and comics culture.
Remember.
In the meantime,
in between time,
we'll be everywhere in
and around
comics.
Oh shit! I gotta do the.
Wow! You are having senior moments.
It's been a long couple of days. I don't know. A long 50 years, man. But yeah, comics. Comics.